let's move on and talk about accessing markets and supporting food security and the role that cooperatives play there. By the year 2050, the world's population is estimated to increase to 10 billion people. In order to feed this population, it's estimated that we need to increase world food production by between 45 and 70%. World Food Day, which is on October 16th, is recognizing agricultural cooperatives as key players in accessing food security. So Tony, what developments are taking place that will impact the role cooperatives play in addressing global food security?
Well, from our perspective, global food security starts with sort of a sustainable production process. And as you guys are here at lunch, and you've heard, I'm sure already know, most of these farmers, raise a family of 5 on a hectare of land, right? An acre or 2 kind of thing. And so, global food security means that at some point we have to figure out how to create some level of scale. But we're not going to change it. Like the landscape of Iowa, where I come from, I mean, there's tractors you can't even turn around. Certainly you can't turn around this room. I mean, the world has changed. But the rest of the world, where the developing world, we have to create sort of this intermediary process, and that's where cooperatives, and that's where that relationship can come into play, is where we can aggregate 35,000 farmers in one area of the world that we deal with. I know it sounds like a lot, but they're doing a lot of products. 3,500 vanilla growers are these farmers, and we can aggregate it and then create that business model. And I see that as the kind of thing that will bring it on, because more and more of the world is waking up to the needs of the third world, and this is the way we can bring that back. So cooperatives can play a role in that, and trying to bring some of the acumens of the business, because they know how to grow the product, but they don't know how to bring it to market or get it processed.
So do you think there's a role that the food cooperatives in the United States, or the wholesale and distribution cooperatives of independent groceries, is there a role for them in this kind of as well? I'm adding on to our
oh my gosh, that's all script. No, I think there's a big role. I think that you got like-minded people in the room. I mean, that's how you sort of change the world. One pound of herbs at a time or something. Mm-hmm. I think that you look back and you look at, when I was a kid, we didn't talk about sustainability. We didn't talk about sort of, what we can do for the betterment of the world, sort of thing. We talked about how to get ahead, I guess. And now that's changed. And I think the co-ops, in the world I live, natural foods in general, people speak that language, and I think that message has come out. I mean, you see it in mainstream retail now. You have people talk about fair trade. Fair trade. I mean, I remember when it was. I remember it was just beginning, and nobody understood it. Still, they don't understand it.
It's like hippies.
But it's a conversation that there's the only place food's really growing. I mean, the food is in that kind of that natural and organic arena, and that's so the conversations, people pay attention to what's in their food, and they care more about it. It's not just food either. People care about how their products are being made and how it's impacting the world. But global food security will be on the backs of people carrying the message of what's really happening and what's going into their food, including in the United States.
And the thing about it is that a big part of the world is so poor. When you're talking about developing nations, it's so poor. I mean, they almost naturally grow natural and organic products, because to buy chemicals is just beyond their reach. Even if they form a co-op, to buy fertilizers and herbicides and pesticides and anything else. I mean, composting is what they're doing. I had a friend call me yesterday. She's got a passion for Peru, and she's going to go down, and she's meeting with Will Allen, because she's from Wisconsin, like great people are. And some aren't from Wisconsin, and the rest of us are. And so she's going to meet with Will Allen to better understand composting. And so composting becomes that fertilizer of choice, because there is nothing else. And so it becomes easy for you guys, I'm sure, for you guys to find source product, because it exists out there.
So Tom, what do you think? What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, I think where the issue I think is most exciting, and the role that co-ops, we see them demonstrating all the time, is in bringing farmers from subsistence to accomplished growers, right? And professional farmers, if you will. And you know, I'm really, there was this academic did a study of households in Paraguay, and you know, surveyed all 261 of them, and really in that study found that farmers were more likely to join a co-op if they had a high percent of their household income from farming, they had unclear land title, the co-op itself was well managed, and they were less poor farmers. They weren't the poorest of the poor farmers. And for me, that study, which was back in '98, I think is real meaningful because it says there's a swath of rural poverty that needs to be taken care of through charity. But then there is this major swath of the rural population in the global south that have some land, have some resources, and can go from subsistent grower to professional grower. And we have seen member groups, you know, throughout, well, particularly in Central and South America in these past 20 years, move farmers along that continuum. And those growers, their diversification programs are very impressive, right? If you go to Coca and Cusco, then that grower group is buying grain from its members. It's buying cacao from its members. That just started as a coffee group. But as those farmers become more accomplished, then they're able to grow more items. The co-op can sometimes buy them, or sometimes the farmer is marketing them privately. But still, it increases household income, and it increases food production. And that will increase the household income is what's going to increase the farm families' food security, and increased production is going to increase all of our food security. You know, now as those trends go on, I think what you see in a lot of regions is the growing importance of non-farm income for the rural household, right? And that happens really fast in Mexico, where the kids go off and get jobs and send them home, or there's municipal or development projects in the area that people are getting day wages from. We just took a group of store managers back to a village in Peru, to the same village they visited 10 years ago. And for me, that was the most amazing thing. The daily wage was 3.5 times what it was 10 years ago. And it wasn't because of inflation. It wasn't because of a shortage of labor. It was because there was more economic activity, and the municipal government was acting like a real government and hiring people, and that increased the day wage. And so those farms are actually, some of those families will stop growing. But the families that stay in the co-op are going to become much better farmers, and like I said, it's better for their family, and it'll be better for the other 10 billion of us. You know, I think that's one reason why, as we look at co-op development, you know, what the real impact is on the productivity and the organizational development. Farmers who are organized, when they become better farmers through their co-op, and when the co-op becomes a better organization to better serve their members, that completely changes the economics of an area.
And the governance of an area.
And the governance of an area. And for me, like, when I think about our groups, and then I think about that Plains Cotton Co-op in Texas, you know, that was talking in Lubbock. Like, you know, that's such a gulf, right? There's so far to go to get to that level of being an economic juggernaut. And how do we, working in the co-op movement, then start to create that virtuous circle of better farmers, supportive universities, government policies that then increase family income?
So